What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Wrestling City. As always, I'm Taylor, and this is your Friday night SmackDown review for November 14th, 2025. Now, if you watched my review last week for last week's SmackDown, I was upfront with you. I was as honest as I could be, and I told you straight up that show sucked. It was awful. There was nothing enjoyable on that show last week. But that wasn't the case for tonight. Yes, that is correct. I actually enjoyed some of this. I enjoyed some of this show tonight. There were a few things that I really didn't care for. I'll go ahead and get those things out of the way. Jade Cargill and BFAB. Didn't care about that. Um, I guess I'll say this first, real quick, too. I want to talk about the United States Championship Open Challenge before I get into the major things that happened. Now, the match tonight between Ilya Dragunov and Axiom was a fantastic match. I might even go ahead and say that was the best U.S. Open Challenge match that we've gotten since Sami Zayn brought this Open Challenge thing back. But I'm kind of finding myself to get a little bit bored of these open challenges. Now, yes, the matches that we are getting are good. They're good. I mean, there are some that are better than most, but I kind of want to get a story involved here. I just feel like the open challenges are, first of all, they're lazy booking. It tells me that creative has no idea what to do with that title, so we're just going to have a open challenge. We're just going to have great matches every week. I just wish we would have some story with that. And now it looks like we are going to get something with Tommaso Ciampa. He's been wanting to get a open challenge for a few weeks now, but he keeps getting put on the back burner for somebody else. Last week it was Johnny Gargano. This week it was Axiom. But after the match, Tommaso Ciampa, excuse me, he attacked Axiom after the match. So I, it looks like we will be getting that match at some point. I think it would. I think they could do. They could have a solid feud. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Not Johnny Gargano. Ilya Dragunov. So that that's really all I gotta say about those two things. But I just wish you would get a storyline, a feud for this U.S. title. I'm just kind of getting bored of these open challenges. So now let's get into the major things that happened on the show. I got some notes right here that I will go into. So we kicked off the show with the team of Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. They were out there talking about WarGames coming up in 2 weeks. They will be teaming with Charlotte Flair. Not anymore. I'm about to get into that. And Alexa Bliss. So they're out there. They're talking about WarGames coming up. Um, Rhea Ripley, she just says that she's been out with a broken nose. Kabuki Warriors have been causing chaos. And now that they have the tag titles, they think they're untouchable. And when you throw Nia Jax and Lash Legend into the mix, and they think they're untouchable because they've gotten the numbers advantage. But the funny thing about numbers is you just end up with more enemies. Sky says it always catches up to you, and now there's nowhere to hide because it's War Games. And Rhea Ripley would introduce two of their opponents, and then out come Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Uh, Bliss says Kabuki's started this fight and they're going to end it. So the very second Io said War Games, she knew they were in. Flair says she can't do this. She can't pretend anymore. She doesn't like Rhea. She doesn't trust her, and she thinks she's a snake. But she probably thinks the same way about her, and she can't blame her. Now, if you guys don't remember, these two feuded for the what was then the SmackDown Women's Championship. A few years ago, they had that great match at WrestleMania 39. So all these years later, they still can't trust each other and they still don't like each other. So Charlotte would then go on to say, but there's just too much history and bad blood here, and having the same enemies doesn't change that, and she can't look past it. She says Alexa is her friend and she trusts her, but if she wants to do this, she trusts her, but count her out. Charlotte would then leave the ring alone. And that was the end of that. So it looks like Charlotte Flair will not be a part of WarGames. Now, I think that leaves the. So, first of all, Rhea's team now has to find two teammates. They only had to find one, but that was before Charlotte decided to say, screw this. I just can't team with Rhea Ripley. So she's out. And then they cut backstage earlier in the night where Alexa's saying that she's been trying to get a hold of Charlotte. She just can't. She's been calling her, texting her, hasn't heard anything back. So I think that leaves the door open for what I'm hoping is. I think that either leaves the door open for Bailey and Lyra Valkyria, or that leaves the door open for Maxine Dupree, because Maxine Dupree, she has a match for the Intercontinental Championship this Monday on Raw. She's facing Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship, and do I want to say it? I have a feeling that Maxine Dupree could win that match, but I think if she wins that match, she's going to get some help. And I think she would get some help from AJ Lee. You could have AJ Lee do this. She gets added to WarGames because the Hills only need one more person. And I think that one more person is going to be Becky Lynch. Now, I don't know. Do you have Becky beat Maxine Dupree, retain the title, and then afterwards she beats down on her some more, and then AJ Lee comes out? Because I think when Maxine Dupree told Adam Pearce that she needed to train a little bit more, there were people that thought that it was going to be Natalia that she'll be getting training from. But I think that person is AJ Lee. Now, we haven't seen AJ Lee since WrestlePalooza, so I don't know. But as of right now, I think we will get Maxine Dupree and AJ Lee. That will fill the 2 spots left for Rhea's team. And then you throw Becky Lynch in there with the Kabuki Warriors, Nia Jax, and Lash Legend, and then there's your Women's War Games match. So let me know in the comments down below how you see this playing out. That's how I see it. So just let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. So after that, we had the next round the next match in the first round of the Last Time Is Now tournament. You had Jey Uso versus The Miz. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know myself, and a bunch of other people on social media were shitting on this match before it even happened, but the match wasn't all that bad. If I'm being completely honest with you, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Jey Uso did pick up the win. I'll just go over some of the stuff that I guess I'll pick up here after the commercial break. So we get back from the commercial break. Uso with a back elbow out of the corner, up to the second. Miz kicks his leg out from underneath him and lands a code breaker as a follow-up. I thought that looked pretty nice. And then he did a basement DDT, spikes him, cover, nope, Jey Uso kicks out. Jey hits a back suplex neck breaker for 2. Miz with shoulder blocks, fall forward blue thunder driver, hand up. You Can't See Me 5 Knuckle Shuffle connects. He hit the 5 Knuckle Shuffle, paying homage to John Cena, of course. Um, After that, Fireman's Carry, Uso slips out, blasts the A-lister with a super kick, but Miz floats over and hits the scroll crushing finale, but it wasn't enough. Jay kicked out. Jockeying for position in the turnbuckles, Jay drops him with a Fireman's Carry drop into the turnbuckle off the top. It cuts off there. So he would then hit the super kick, splash, 1, 2, 3. So Jay Uso advances. Not sure who he is going to be facing next because we still don't have a bracket out for this tournament. I don't know why they aren't showing us a bracket for this tournament. Um, Next up was Ilya and Axiom. I already went through that, so I'll do that. So this is where things got a little interesting here. So Nick Aldis is he's walking backstage, and then he runs into Paul Heyman and Big Bronson Reed waiting to talk to him outside of his office. We get back from the break. They're all standing in Nick Aldis's office. Nick Aldis calls security and asks Heyman what he wants before he and Reed are expelled from the building. Paul says he can pull anybody into WarGames from across all brands. And Nick says, obviously, this could have been an email, and security arrives to escort them away because he won't have the Vision ruin his show. And then in comes Cody Rhodes. Heyman calls him the Golden Goose with all of this protection, and Rhodes asks what he wants to talk about. Paul says he got involved in Vision business, and Cody says he put his friends to the fire, and that means he walks through the flame next. And if you're not here to fight, they should be. Bronson steps up and says he is here to fight, and Rhodes pitches the match for tonight. Heyman goads him into making it a title match, and Cody tells Nick to book it. Aldis warns him not to get sucked in, but Cody insists and makes it official. So we had that. Um, Let's see. Next up, we had another tournament match for the John Cena Farewell Tour tournament, whatever you want to call it. LA Knight versus a mystery opponent, and that mystery opponent was none other than woo woo woo. You know it, Zack Ryder. He didn't come out as Matt Cardona, which he goes by now, which was interesting. I guess. I mean, I kind of figured if he was going to show up in this tournament, it was going to be under Zack Ryder. Um, I mean that's what us WWE fans know him by. So, and he even got the woo woo woo, you know it, his old WWE theme song. It did have some minor tweaks to it, obviously. And they had to throw the Def Rebel special on it, but um, other than that, so all right, I'll go over some of this match. It was an okay match, so I'll pick up after the break. Hard whip and a back body drop. Knight in control, jockeying for position in the ropes. Back inside, turning jabs from LA and a big lariat seals the deal. Side Russian leg sweep, jumping neck breaker, cover for 2. Zach on the comeback with right hands off the ropes. Short impaler DDT. Knight down and out for the broski boot. No deal. Ryder laying in wait. Kill switch blocked. Inverted DDT from Knight. Back roll to his feet. Off the top. Nobody home. Zach catches him with the Rough Rider, and not enough to put LA Knight down. Front kick, BFT block. Schoolboy, LA Knight kicks out. Knees up in the corner. Ryder pops him up to the second. Dives. Counter blocked from LA Knight with a power bomb. It looked like Zack Ryder was going to go for the Rough Rider from the middle rope, but then LA Knight with a great counter into the power bomb. Following it up, LA Knight would then hit the BFT, excuse me, for the 1, 2, 3, and LA Knight moves on. And like I said, we have no idea what's going to happen next, but who he's going to face next. But Uh, speaking of the This Time Is Now tournament, we had two more matches announced for next week. It will be Carmelo Hayes and Big Bronson Reed. Carmelo Hayes has got to win this match. He's got to. I like Bronson Reed, but if Carmelo Hayes loses next week, I'm going to be highly disappointed. Extremely disappointed. And then the other match we got is Penta going one-on-one against Finn Balor. So two matches right there. I'm looking forward to next week. So I don't know, man. It looks like this Last Time Now tournament is picking up with the matches. After those first few matches that they announced wasn't looking too good, but I don't know these matches that they've announced because we've got those two matches next week, and then Monday Night Raw we've got Javon Evans and Gunther, and then we have Solo Sikoa versus a mystery opponent. So, all right, main event time: Cody Rhodes versus Big Bronson Reed, and the WWE title was on the line. This match started with like 10 minutes left, so. And then I knew what was going to happen. So I'll pick up from the commercial break. Rose lands a beautiful disaster and slaps him in the face to get himself fired up. Trading jabs, bionic elbows, countered with a Death Valley driver. Kick out at 2. Off the top, 747 splash misses the tsunami. Rhodes passes Reed over the timekeeper's barricade, breaks the count, clears the announce desk, and then Braun Breaker appears to blast Cody into the table. Match ends in a DQ. Logan Paul is with him, and they uh, attack Cody and beat him down. The Usos then come out to make the save. They lay Paul out with a 1D, and Jim gets the tables, the Slim Jim table set up in the ring. They put Logan on top of it and go up top. But Drew McIntyre, who was just suspended last week, is back. And Nick Aldis comes out. I mean, he is furious. He is storming down, demanding Paul Heyman to explain. And Paul Heyman reminded him, you said we could sign anybody from Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Nick Aldis did say that he could sign anybody. So, and they decided to sign Drew McIntyre, which now it makes sense why Cody Rhodes is in this match. Because if you weren't going to have Drew McIntyre inside WarGames, then Cody Rhodes' involvement. Now, yes, they're going to tell you that he's just out there to back his friends up in the Usos and CM Punk. But now we know exactly why Cody Rhodes is in here, because you got Drew McIntyre, who is going to be joining the Vision for WarGames. So now that only leaves one more spot left for each team going into WarGames. The Vision, I think we all know who's joining the Vision. Brock Lesnar. I think we either see him. I mean, we're probably going to see him Monday night. So, and then you've got one more person left for the babyface team. Now, I think that's going to be John Cena. I really think it's going to be John Cena. And the only reason I say that is because Brock Lesnar will be joining the Vision. And if it were up to me, I would have John Cena be a part of WarGames, because right now it just seems like they're wanting John Cena to do everything that he hasn't done before he retires. He never won the Intercontinental Championship. He won it last week. He hasn't competed inside WarGames. He could very well do that before he retires. So if it's not John Cena, it's Roman Reigns. And while I'm not saying Roman Reigns first, is because if you go back to Crown Jewel, Roman Reigns said that he does not want to see the Usos until Christmas. Now, they could continue to play onto that and him not show up for WarGames, or he just says, oh, fine, I guess I'll come back. So I want it to be John Cena because, like I said, Brock Lesnar is on the other side, and I want to see John Cena get some sort of revenge on Brock Lesnar before he retires. you just can't have what happened at WrestlePalooza happen and just let John Cena. John Cena's just going to let that go. He's going to let that slide. No, that doesn't need to be the case. John Cena needs to be inside War Games. Let him get in there with Brock Lesnar. Get some revenge on Brock Lesnar in some way. So that's what I think is going to be the play for Survivor Series. So that's about it for SmackDown. It wasn't a great show. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a great show, but it was a little bit better than what we've been getting the last 2 weeks because the last two shows were just god awful, and I actually found myself enjoying the show tonight. So I guess that's a plus. But yeah, that's about it from this episode of SmackDown. Let me know what you guys thought of tonight's show. Who you guys think is joining the women's War Games match for since Charlotte's out? Who's going to be joining the men's War Games matches? There's only one spot left in each of those for those teams. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of that and what you guys think of the show overall. I like to hear you guys' feedback on the show. So that's about it. If you guys did enjoy this SmackDown review, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and when you hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell for notifications so you never miss an upload. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. I would love to hit that goal by Thanksgiving. So when I get to Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for 500 subscribers. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. You don't have to go and sign up for nothing. It just helps me out. So that's about it. I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care and God bless. Peace.